Hey, yo, what up guys, this is darklordoffire. I'm here today to bring to you a brand new video, and today I'm here to pose a question. What the hell was Insomniac thinking? A little bit of a backstory on me before we begin. I am a huge Spider-Man fan. He's actually my favorite superhero. I used to read his comic books when I was a teenager, and every once in a while I still will, and I've played every single Spider-Man game that's ever been released. Well, that was released commercially. And so I would think that I am a pretty good judge on what makes and breaks a Spider-Man game. And with every new Spider-Man game that comes out, it seems that they're adding more stuff to the mechanics to get it to the point of what a Spider-Man game should be. I mean, yeah, they'll add a few things that don't work very well, but when they find something that does work, it suddenly becomes like a staple of a good Spider-Man game. And with every game that comes out, this progression just adds up and adds up and adds up until you get to a point where you feel like, wow, this is what a Spider-Man game should be. And to me, it seems like all of this started on the PS1, when they released Spider-Man on the PS1, all the way up to Spider-Man Edge of Time on the PS3 and Xbox 360. They all have this kind of relationship to them. In the PS1 version of Spider-Man, you could swing through the air without needing a roof. Then, when Spider-Man the movie, the game, came out on PS2, you could do the same thing. When they made a sequel to that game, suddenly you could use buildings. Now, I dare you to try to imagine a Spider-Man game being made today where you didn't have to use roofs to web swing. You could just web swing and, I don't know, something magical in the sky would just catch your web and then you could swing like that. Do you really think that that would fly in this day and age? I don't think so. Now, some of you might say, well, that was just the time period. Like back in the day, we didn't have the kind of technology we needed in order to have Spider-Man's web attached to a building. And it wasn't until Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 and GameCube that we were able to finally have that kind of technology. But to that I argue that there's so many different game mechanics that are passed on from one game to the next game. It's kind of like watching evolution in motion. For example, Spider-Man 2 came up with the idea of wall running, a technique that's been passed down through the Spider-Man games, such as the Amazing Spider-Man series, as well as other titles, and it's gotten us to Spider-Man on the PS4 2018 release, where, again, you can run on the walls. Let's take a look at combat. Combat started off as a one-punch system, where you basically just push square a bunch of times and you would hit, and then it slowly evolved over time until we're basically playing the Arkham Asylum games with Spider-Man. As a little side note, I always thought that the Arkham games would have been better as Spider-Man games instead of Batman games. Because, come on. Batman does not have a sixth sense that tells him when his enemies are about to attack him. I always thought that would work way better in a Spider-Man game, and they've finally done it. Nowhere near as fast-paced as Batman, but it's a good start, which also doesn't make any sense if you think about it, because Spider-Man should be able to move faster than Batman, but whatever, I digress. The point I'm trying to make here is that with every single Spider-Man game, the concept of a perfect Spider-Man game evolves little by little. But suddenly, we've come to a point where instead of evolving naturally, we have a feature in the game that has stunted itself. It's kind of de-evolved. And what is that feature? That would be web swinging. Now, what's wrong with the web swinging, could you ask? I mean, it's a Spider-Man game. I mean, they have to be able to get the web swinging right. I mean, that should be like 101. And to that, I would kind of agree with you. They should get that right. It should be a basic thing. I mean, I myself have popped on Spider-Man 2 or the Amazing Spider-Man 2, either one, just so that way I could web swing through the air and just enjoy the feeling of being Spider-Man, like going super fast through the city. But this game kind of fudges that really badly. This is what I mean. For starters, you only have one button to web swing. Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 and the GameCube, you were able to use the right trigger to control one of your hands, and the left trigger to control your other hand for webbing. And that was a really cool, really inventive idea that hasn't really come back ever since. So, I get it why it might not be in this game. It might start to look unrealistic after a little bit. I mean, having your character hold on to two buildings and then just dangling there, it's too fun to pass up, and you know, any of you who are listening to this would probably do that, kind of breaking the immersion a little bit. So only one button for web swinging, fine. Whatever, I'll deal personally. So, how do they mess it up then? I mean, if what I just mentioned isn't, what is it? Well, if you hold the R2 button, that's right, hold the R2 button, which is the web swinging button, and push forward on the direction stick, you will automatically web swing. You will automatically traverse the entire town, coming across little to no obstacles. But I can hear some of you thinking, what if you hit a building? Well, that's the thing. R2 is also the run button as well as the web button. So if you hit a building, you will be able to run straight up the building with no issues whatsoever. What if all of a sudden you run up to the top of the building and you jump off that building? Well, Spider-Man will automatically seek out the nearest web point, lock onto it, throw his web, and you will continue your swing. What about when you're at the top of a swing? It lets go automatically and then reattaches automatically. This game has single-handedly taken the funnest part about Spider-Man and turned it into an automatic system. Oh, and by the way, in case any of you don't believe me, all the gameplay footage I am showing right now is just me holding the R2 button and pushing forward. That is it. I mean, I might turn around if I get to the water, but that's going to be about it. There are good aspects to this game, like being able to greet people on the street level. That's fun. The crimes aren't as dubious as Spider-Man 2. That's fun. But when you do things like make Spider-Man's normal fast walk animation make him look like he's an idiot, then you might be on the wrong track. Which I will put footage of him fast walking right here, so that way you guys can judge for yourself. You know, I really hate it when there's some jerk on the internet who takes something that I find incredibly fun and they just kind of shit all over it. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not bad-mouthing this game because I'm bad-mouthing this game. Honestly, I want them to fix these. I love Spider-Man. I don't want him to have like such a mark on his gaming history. I mean, what if the next Spider-Man game chooses to build off the bad parts of this game? I mean, that doesn't just hurt me, that hurts all of us. I don't want there to be automatic web swinging. I don't want Peter Parker to look like an idiot while he's running. And these are some problems that I think need to be fixed. And hopefully, with a patch, maybe two, maybe they will be fixed. Or maybe these problems are going to be there forever, and maybe I'm the only one on the planet who's going to be bugged by them. I don't know. But this has been my 2 cents on what I think of this game so far. Granted, I'm only about 20% into the story, but I've also been playing for more than 12 hours. I've been taking my sweet time. Anyways, so I guess that's been my video, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you did not like my video, make sure to give it a thumbs down. If you have any comments, make sure to leave them in the comments section below, and subscribe if you guys want more of my content. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Peace.